So, welcome everyone. So, this is a kind of a pre-meeting gathering, a little bit ragged, giving people time to collect, come into the hall, get used to their technology, yeah, wriggle themselves around, wriggle yourself around. Yeah. Things don't exactly just begin. We sort of move into. So this is a kind of moving into time period in which just look around, get used to your screen, kind of get the sense of the where you want to sit, and recognizing you're going to be sharing that screen with quite a few hundred other people, which is good. When you even get a glimpse of the range of territories, geographical territories that we're crossing, this already is a wonderful teaching. Just all the boundaries are reduced to that 0.5 millimeter between one thumbnail and the next. You didn't need a visa, you didn't need a plane. And there you are, there's so-and-so in Oregon, there's so-and-so in Malaysia, there's so-and-so in Ireland. And something you know already. Good to see some friends, other people. Just, oh wow, there's a lot of people. And you're part of that. So you're kind of contributing to that just by being there, giving the sense of this is a pretty wonderful occasion. The occasions happen like this when 300 or 400 people or so can share time and touching into truth and peace and benevolence in themselves, and acknowledging that's what everybody else is looking for, touching into. It's a powerful reflection. So as you're settling in, set where you want to sit. Probably spend a little bit of time tidying your place up. You want to sit, or do you want to create your temple for the next few days? Put aside the distracting bits and pieces that are part of the home thing. Put them in drawers, shelves, put them away so you've got a nice, clean, open vista, rather than things that remind you what you've got to do or what needs fixing and so on. Switching your gadgets off if you haven't done so, putting that do not disturb thing on your gadget, and looking at I have my shrine behind me, so that's partly for you. It's also for me, but it's partly for you. You've got something, and you see that, nice, simple space, and see how you want to set that up. We're crossing quite a few time zones. For me, this is early afternoon. Some of you, it's early morning, and it can be more or less any time of day or night, depending where we are. So energies are different. So you're going to look at things like, when you're going to have your food, when do you need to clean your place, feed the dog, have a few words with your partner or your kids or how you set that up. So it's tidy and everybody knows what's going on in your situation and you've set it up. It's time to think about that, consider that. Because the more that we can do this kind of level of work, just tidying, then this is the first level of practice, just putting aside, clearing up concerns so that you can deepen without any great thrust of the will, but almost a natural relaxing and deepening. It occurs when any human being pauses their activities as a natural, that's what happens. The chitta, the awareness, opens up, listens in. Some people that's frightening and horrible. You can't bear it, too difficult. So of course all this does rest upon, we're going to deepen, we want to deepen to something that's rewarding rather than something that's deeply irritating or painful. So this is where, of course, you get the sense when we're taking precepts, we're looking at that not just as an occasion, but as a way of life, so that what we land into feels pretty good, And of course, there's all the rough edges that we can smooth out, but we want to be able to be with ourselves in a way that's not struggling and not trying to make something happen. It should be a natural unfolding. If that's easy for you, consider yourself blessed and consider you must have done some good work already. A Buddhist meditation practice, and something I make a lot of, has a lot of body in it. You can imagine those forest dwellers in the time of the Buddha. What do they got? They got a body moving around in a jungle. That's their temple. That's their meditation place. It's their body moving around in a jungle, right? With goodness knows what's going on. Body has to be pretty alert. Can't just walk around in a daze in a jungle. It's dangerous. So you have to be pretty alert. And yet, a trained person is alert but not tense. They trust, and their body is alert, and they learn to listen into that. That learning to listen in to these bodily reflexes, sensitivities. That's where meditation begins. Buddhist meditation begins in that. So as a profound putting aside of psychologies, philosophies, and to enter something very simple and direct. For us, this can be quite a journey. By and large, our lives are extremely extended into what we call the abstract domain: future, calendar, timing, appointments, signals, street signs, words, buzzers, bleepers, flashing, ought to, should do, tomorrow, 5 hours, 6 minutes, 20 gallons. All these abstractions our lives are run with, and there's a huge mentality to that. It's got a tremendous energy on that mentality level. Very easy to more or less forget the body altogether, apart from as a kind of like a tank that you put food in to keep the rest of it going. Or just as a kind of something dress up with, decoration system, or no, but it is using intelligence of the body, or the intelligence of the body, its sensitivity. You go quiet, you recognize it as a trembliness, an edge. When things feel settled in your room, there's a feeling of at home. Rest, that's the bodily changes, bodily sensitivities. So it moves through this alert restfulness is the optimum. For most of us, we're going to have to travel through and disengage quite a bit of ought to, should do, what if, tomorrow, unravel it and move through the emotional energies that all that stirs up to something more quiet and restful. Now, for a start, this is probably not that much news for many of you, but I don't know the span of people who are listening. Might be good to remind everyone how to use a body. We have the simple postures, but most people are used to kind of sitting on something or leaning on something or shifting around a bit. That's the way we use bodies these days. Put them in a car, lean on something, move around a bit. So it's just to learn to sit with a sense of sitting as a kind of, almost like a finality to it, like you are just sitting. You're not sitting to do something, you're not sitting down in order to have a chat or a meal, you're sitting in order to sit. And there's a certain, almost a dignity about that. So the upright position is largely it's a sense of upright. Because I've been practicing like this for 45 years or so, my body has shaped itself to the muscles and so forth, and the joints have softened, and the ligaments have opened, and the hips have opened, and the spine has strengthened. So it does that. That I've kept my work. I've managed to build a workshop out of this thing, and it's in quite good shape. I hope that's the case for many of you. If you're newer at this, or if you've got physical problems, you've got to look at what gives you the feeling of upright. And the essential features of it, what you do with your legs is of less importance than what you do with your spine. So while we're sitting in half lotus, full lotus, or what they call the Burmese position, where the legs are kind of, crossed, and yet they're not on top of each other, one's in front of the other one. Or you can sit, sometimes they call the camel position, where your two knees are on a stool, your bottom's on a bench. So you prop like that. Really, the legs are just to give you a good foundation. And you want to give them to give you as least problems as possible. You don't want them to be screaming at you all the time. So sure, you're trying to find that position. It probably will have a little bit of a moan now and then. So you've got to move around. Don't get involved with trying to do marathon sits. So if you've got to keep up with everyone else or have some epic struggle with pain, I don't recommend that. The body will build up over time if you treat it carefully, exercise it, and do complementary stretching exercises, flexion exercises, low willpower exercises, not massive endurance tests, but low willpower, asana, hatha yoga, stretches, and do it regularly over time. It's going to benefit you. Essentially, if you've got problems with your knees, it's not your knees that need changing, it's your hips and thighs. Knee is not much you can do about it, I think. I think it was the yoga teacher Iyengar said the knee is the joint that God forgot. He never did that very well. But all you can do is avoid putting pressure on it. So if you're you're sitting like that, if your joint between the abdomen and the leg, the hip joint, if that can be flexed, so your legs really come down when you sit, rather than up like that, then your knees are going to take less strain. So you don't want to be sitting with the knees up like that. You want them flat, like that. So as you put something under your bottom to lift you up. So essentially you want to get knees down on the ground, otherwise you're going to get damaged. You want your knees on the ground, resting. They can't take strain, they rip. So whatever you do, keep your knees out of strain. So put something on your backside to lift you up a little bit, so you're sloping down, your legs are sloping down. Depending what your body will do. On the long run, you want to find ways of flexing and stretching those ligaments between the abdomen, pelvis, and thigh, all that around that area. And while you're doing this retreat, I would really recommend that because we're doing a lot of, probably quite a bit of sitting still, that you do use these interim periods to freshen up. It could be just taking a brisk walk, freshen up in that sense, and probably could do some stretching, really good stuff to do. So you develop the craft. The craft, you've got to keep your workshop clean, you've got to keep your tools sharp and tidy. This is what we're working with. Now we want to moving up the body into the back. The back begins in the tail, way down there. Tailbone, sacrum. This lower area, pelvic lumbar region. We tend to be mostly up. Most of our lives are lived up here in chest. You want to get down to the basis. If this is firmly settled, this is where your strength should be. Don't need strength in upper body for this. You want strength lower body for this. And it's a strength of like a firm, earthed, grounded, like ballast, So really get your belly to drop. That's why we have that open leg position, to allow the abdomen to be encouraged just to drop. So if you can drop your belly on the floor. Don't mind me being graphic. But then, okay, let's go around to the back. The sacrum, the pelvis, and the first lumbar area, discs above the sacrum. How is that? Now, whatever it is, you don't want it. You want it so that there's no pressure, or the lumbar region, lumbar disc sits on the sacrum. It's not. So no, I'm not sitting like that, because that's going to damage, the lower back, because what's happening is your lumbar vertebra is going to be crushed over on the disc. You're sitting like that. We're sitting like that. You want to be sitting so that's sitting there. So the weight of this very large vertebra, the lumbar vertebra, is sitting nicely on top of the sacrum. The disc then, between the two, is getting even pressure. You don't want to have uneven pressure on those discs. You've had a split disc, cracked disc, you know what I mean. Not fun. So even flex it a little bit. Flex a little bit. See, okay, there I can arch that back. I can pull it right the way in, and I can relax it. You don't want to be so tight that you've got a strong bow in your back, but you can go all the way like that, and then relax, relax, relax until it feels about settled. And the result of that is the abdomen feels open. There's no chest isn't resting on the belly. The abdomen feels open, long, and your lower back very lightly arched. It's not a strong arch, just a light one like that. So, however that you can do with that, but the fundamental thing is to avoid damaging your back, by an incorrect posture that you sustain over a period of time, and also getting as much openness as you can in the lower belly, because this is where the breathing is going to come from. Breathing is absolutely fundamental to all kinds of things, calming emotions, refreshing the body, as a doorway to liberation. Breathing. So breathing is not a chest and nose thing. It starts all the way down in the base of the body, where the body begins to pull air in. By breathing, we don't mean the airflow, we mean the physiological, energetic, and even emotional energies that all partake in the breathing process. Now, if you've got that lower area properly balanced, the breathing is going to be deep, long, and the diaphragm is not tight. So it's just like the belly begins to expand and like a bellows drawing air in. That's where you want. So it's pulling in. It pulls in from the lower chamber. And that thread is then pulled down the nose into the lower chamber. As you come up your back, you'll just get a feel if you're running your finger lightly up your spine, and feeling for the place between the shoulder blades. This is where the hunch begins. The hunch is this quite normal form for the body to take, because we're visual creatures. A lot of the time we're looking at maps, roads, cooking, diagrams, books, screens, computers, and we hunch over to do so. Absolutely normal, but not good. When you do this, you're going to compress the cavity of your chest. Your breath can't properly expand your chest because you're putting a lock on it. So you want to push between the shoulder blades as if the spine is inclining towards the breastbone, the heart. When I say push, that may be too strong a word, but inclining. As you do so, loosening across the chest, as if you're lying on your back. So the breath, the chest can open. It may be useful if you want to, from time to time, perhaps not while we're on screen, but if you want to lie down and just get a folded towel and put it under that place, between your shoulder blades. So you can imagine you're lying down, there's your head, and you put a little towel under there. So it just encourages, that slight elevation to let the head drop back. You lie down and feel the chest open. You're just using gravity. You're not using any force of muscle, just using gravity to take that hunch out. And it's a nice way to just, again, it's a stretch It requires no effort, no willpower, just lie there. Or with a slight soft towel, maybe just 3 inches thick, that's all. Folded towel, that's not much. You don't want a big hump, just enough. And you can feel the muscles in your chest, arms relax. And it's a gentle massage of the spine. This again is something that can be useful to do as we come into these postures. You're learning to massage your spine. It's a damaged area, a fragile area, and you want to look after it. So moving on up, if you manage to be aware of that place between your shoulder blades, your lower shoulder blades, keep that awareness going up through the range of the shoulder blades. This is where the hump takes over. We're going to neutralize the hump so you can drop your shoulders. And tendency the head to tip forward or backwards. Remember, your neck is the spine. There's no difference between the fundamental difference between the neck and the rest of the spine, except the neck's more flexible. And draw your face back, inclining back. And sitting with your eyes open is to be recommended. Certainly, early stages or first 10 minutes of meditation, or first, till you get your visual focus will then show you whether your head is sleeping forward or tipping upwards, so getting a level focus. This is to essentially to help the neck muscles to freshen up. So they're not carrying your head. Imagine these big neck muscles like ropes, and you've got a ball of bone, which is your skull, and you've got these ropes tethering it to the body. But if the ball of bone is balanced on top of the spine, those ropes, those neck muscles are not doing any work. They don't do any work, allows energy to shift, takes pressure out. As many muscles as we can, we want to switch off. So this posture, which may seem like it's a struggle, it's just finding the balance is tricky, I'll admit. It takes a little bit of work, but the aim of it is to get into a particular position where you can switch most of your muscles off. Relax. And that the body recognizes that. The body's intelligent. It recognizes that. It feels, oh, that's nice, comfortable. I'm restful. Then the mind picks that up. If your muscles are tight, your mind's going to be tight. So relaxing that. You can also, part of your stretch might be just to occasionally, again, you get your hand over the skull. See here, I'm using my right hand over the skull. Draw your left arm out and just gently pull down until you feel in accordance with what your body will allow. And lengthening the neck along the left side, really slowly, a little bit at a time. And you get to a place where it feels like you're getting into, a good stretch. It's not a heavy, it's not a wrench, but a nice stretch that you can sustain. And just hang there for a minute or two. If you want to take it any further, just consider extending your left arm. So then you get the effect of the left arm pulling away. And that again is a lengthening effect. So you might want to be there for a couple of minutes. And slowly slide the right hand off and let the head float up. And you can do that both sides. Once again, this is not a massive wrenching effort. It's there to, you don't wrench muscles into relaxation. you wrench them, you rip them, you tear them. You have to, best to stay, give it a longer period for a lighter, sustainable stretch for a longer period. That's what causes muscles to relax and tendons to relax, and you'll feel the effect when you come up. You feel, oh, brightness, liveliness. You can also turn your head down, chin to the chest, and do a small circle, really slowly, feeling your way, half circle down, and then all the way up, and all the way back, and so on. Just these kinds of things are necessary, tidying, preparation, so we can have an easeful deepening. The body is not blocking us. It's actually, we're learning to cooperate with the body. You cooperate the body will cooperate with you. It will easily relax. And the saying in the Buddha is, when the body is relaxed and restful, the mind is happy, peaceful. When the mind is happy, it stabilizes. When it's stable, it sees things clearly. The pathways through a refreshed, balanced, stable body. As you're settling in, and as a regular feature of every sit, it's always good to just do a brief scan, like an MRI scan. You're scanning for tension. You're scanning for places which are either compressed or dull, they don't have energy in them. So, wait a minute, what's that? It needs to open up a little bit. That needs to relax a little. Oh, that's better. And remember, because the body is an intelligence, so anywhere where it feels tense, it's in your ankle or your foot. That signal of tension will affect the entire nervous system. So it's just a thorough washing through, expunging through. How's that? Anything that it needs to be made more happy, anything not quite happy yet or comfortable. Now, take it down to your arms. Arms are generally pretty lively. Hands are one of our liveliest places in our bodies. Sweeping down the arms into the hands. And you want the hands, we have quite a few features or qualities in the hands. We have the palm, which is soft, sensitive, receptive. It receives. Right? It's a receiver. You have the fingers, which are more tweaky, twiddlers, and they poke around, they do things. The back of the hand is a weapon, or thump things with it, or knock things with it. So these different qualities to the hand, and you want to actually emphasize the palm quality. And the fingers just help to cradle that palm. So when we sit, you often see this sitting in these conventional Buddha rupas. Generally, this one's sitting with his hand touching the ground, but often they sit one hand resting on the other. So the hands, they know, each hand knows where it is, and it knows it's being comforted, held, nestled in the other. So you've got a nestling hand with the palms. The quality of the palm is apparent. It's a cradler. Yeah, that's why this is called the samadhi mudra. One hand cradling another, and the digits kind of arc over as if they are listening to the palms, or even cradling the palms. So it's a support. They're not going off doing their own thing, stabbing up. They're actually collecting. And again, that's a signal the body picks up. You can have either the two hands resting one on the other, or you can have one hand resting palm up on each thigh. So I often sit like this, fingertips touching, because the touching of the fingertips is a very extremely sensitive experience. These are the digits, tips of the fingers are very, very sensitive. So when you get two fingers touching, you've got this quality of like an acuteness, a sensitivity, like a really sharp listening that is not intense. It's just extremely sensitive and attentive. So, letting the fingertips touch each other. So you either can have each hand sitting on top of a leg with, say, a thumb and a fingertip touching. We can have both together with the thumbs, tips touching. Same expression. Some people like to have it so their palms are flat down on their thighs, palm down on the thigh. And that's again, attempt, or the movement that is grounding. Like everything is going down into the ground. And then releasing through the palm of the hands, releasing energy down into the ground through the palms of the hands. So these are ways in which we use the hands to, recognizing the sensitivity, intelligence of the body. Just checking those points and sensing those points. This is meditation already. Checking a point, listening to a point, checking a feature, listening to a feature, seeking stability and ease in that experience. How is any negative energy released from that? How does it get to be more open, comfortable? No part of the body disconnected. It's all there. This is meditation. This is samadhi, collecting together. And no effort to breathe. No contracting. No searching, seeking breathing. And sitting in your body. And if breathing happens to you, I'm sure it will. No one's dropped dead yet on a retreat. And you may be able to feel it without hunting it. When it's settled, the sense of listening becomes very deep and quiet. This is listening with the chitta, with the heart, with awareness, not with the ears. Another feature we can benefit from is the body has an interior. I don't just mean it's got liver and spleen and other fleshy things inside it, but it has a sense. You might say we have a sense for our bodies of that's happening at the skin level, at my boundaries. There's the prickling, there's the warming, there's that, stuff. And within that, breathing is moving through something. Experience like it's as if there's a space that breathing moves through. Breathing is spacious. So we get a sense of the tissue knowledge, which is a warmth and tingly and sensitive and uncomfortable or whatever it is. The boundary. You say, what's within that? What's that around? And the breathing sits within that, doesn't it? Your breath channel sits with the flesh wrapped around it. Right? Right? Now, this is not a physical feature. This is a feature of the body's awareness of itself. It knows its breathing. It knows its interiors. Mm-hmm. And it knows that open quality of breathing in and breathing out. If that's restricted, it feels agitated. If it's open, it feels comfortable. We want that inner channel, energy channel, to feel comfortably open. Now, this is what we're going to cultivate or encourage to develop through mindfulness of breathing and through the qualities of loving kindness and goodwill. We both operate in the same area, the inner area. And another very, non-conceptual feature is chanting. Now, chanting is different from speaking. Speaking is just the mouth and the nose and the lips. Chanting is the abdomen and the chest and the throat. The abdomen, the chest, the full breath. Right? But this full breath, now we're colouring it with sound. Colouring it with sound. bodies can do that. Mm, do that. Mm, throats can do that. Mm, mm. So that, that up through the voice box, its vocal cords set, create a certain strings, I guess, and the resonance of that shimmers through the body. Mm, shimmers through the head, shimmers through the body. Called the voice timbre. And some of those, as we recognize when we hear people speak, is sharp, brittle words, which have got limited resonance, or we hear soothing, comforting words, which got a lot of resonance, right? Sighing, it's a soothing sound. The chanting, we're using, we're tapping into resonances because these have a bodily effect. They send energy through trembling, shivering through the body subtly. They have heart effect. They're bright. They're purity. They have aspiration. They have warm qualities to them. This is a skill of chanting. And we will do some chanting. Unfortunately, we can't really chant together because of the limitations of the technology. But you'll be able to hear Willa or myself, and you individually can listen in and follow. We're not opera singers. We're not, it's not about amazing sound, or the end result. We're trying to keep a lot of the chanting occurs within your own body. It's not about belting out an anthem or something. It's just finding resonances in your body, and the ears can hear the sound as it comes, as your body picks it up, and you can sense there's the chest, there's the throat, and there's the movement of the mouth, the little tongue, the lips, as they send the sound out. So you're shaping something, shaping a sound carefully. And this is one of the skills that you get a very direct experience of sati, mindfulness, attentiveness, calming, and resonance with. And when these are conjoined to our aspiration, to our faith, to our intention, to clarify, to deepen, to commit, to open, whatever, have your aspiration, however you want to verbalize that. That quality is a heart quality, isn't it? That quality, aspiration, is a heart quality. So you must sing your aspiration. Get the heart quality. Get the heart quality, and then, right? And then, as you make your sound, bring that heart quality to mind. And you're getting a tone, a resonance that is an echo of your mental aspiration. So we do this through Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. We're bringing forth our aspiration body in whatever terms you want to put around that. It's freedom, understanding, compassion, deepening, releasing. Those are not purely ideas, are there? There's a powerful heart meaning in that. So we chant it. We make the sound that represents that and listen. Because when you hear it, it's like you're getting powerful feedback on that, and it begins to become more than just an idea. It becomes a palpable tone that you sit in. That's how you set up your meditation temple in your own body. So on that note, we'll just conclude this introductory gathering with opening salutation to the triple gem. If you can find it in your books. This is not very long. We'll take it. It goes down to the phrase Namo Tassa. Yo so Supatipanno yasam bhagavato sāvaka sangho dhamayam bhagavantang sadhammam sasangham ime sagare yataraham aropite apepuchayama Satno Bande Bhagava Sukira Parini Butopi Bhajima Janatan Gang Manasa Ime Sangare Dukatabana Karabute Bhatigan Hatu Ham di karatang nitaya sukhaya arahang samma sambuddho bhagava buddhang bhagavantang abhivademi. Svakado bhagavata dhammo dhammang namassami. Supatipanno bhagavato sāvaka sangho sanghang namami. Vandamayam buddhasa bhagavato pupakanamakkarang roma se. Namo tassa bhagavato sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. So settling in, and so we have about an hour for your own practice time, rearranging yourself, considering what I've said, sitting meditating or tending to those final details, looking at your technology, your sheets and so forth. And we'll meet in about an hour's time for precepts and further instruction.